think all of that's possible. I actually, not with all those points, do not think Rod of Ages really makes sense. But once again, if you get that early gold, it's never wrong to go Rod. But Leandry's does make sense, especially with, like you said, the beefiness of that comp, because there is some variability in Olaf builds as well. So you kind of alluded to the um, tankiness of Thresh and Maokai, but you can have some drain tank Olaf, like pure drain tank with not a lot of AD built in there. So
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
although Gore Drinker is a lot better than it has been in the past, or in the recent past right now on this current patch, we're likely to see that Gore Drinker out of Olaf. So.
Yeah, especially based on the enemy team. I don't know what else you would really be getting the same value out of. You're kind of between Maokai and Olaf. I think that's your main front line. Olaf's going to just be his job. I think is going to be to run and distract and to just buy time for the Varus to put down the damage and the Syndra to put down her damage as well as stuns and stuff. He's basically the meatball that's running at the enemy team, saying, "Here, hit me instead of my team." And I think with Gore Drinker, he's going to have a lot more success with that.
I concur. I couldn't agree more. If you don't take Gore Drinker right now, especially on an Olaf, I'm uh, not sure what you're doing. Especially going into an Ornn, you're going to want to punish that Ornn early. Ornn's going to try to play the slow scaling, farm up, get his ornaments, hit level 13, do what he's got to do, stay in lane, not back, and you want to be able to have the Gore Drinker, the early damage, and really, really get that Ornn hitting his level spikes as late as possible.
That's right. The further behind you can keep the Ornn, the further behind the rest of his team is by default. Not necessarily in the way you'd expect if you're putting resources top, but not having those mythic items come through, or I'm sure there's a different word for it, but those extra mythic items come through is a big talking point for them, I think.
Absolutely. Getting into the client here, we are having a little bit of bugs going on, which is a bit interesting. Not sure what it. There we go. Okay.
Oh, there we
So
go. That was just your daily reminder to buy wards.
yes, true. Okay. So all
As
right. Happy
both
Friday,
teams lining
everyone.
up at the gate.
Let's have a great series here. So I also just want to make a point while these teams are setting up in their jungle, deciding what their pathing and plans are. I couldn't. I think it's absolutely wonderful that the bot lane of the Scorch or of the Church picked his and hers. Their names are his and hers, and they picked Zyra Khan. What you couldn't have picked a better fitting ADC duo down there.
It's almost as if they picked their first two picks based more on the names than on actual draft, but I think it does end up working out very well into the comp. Both
Absolutely.
teams going for a standard 5 point start, making sure that entrances are covered.
Yep.
It's unlikely that we'll see any early aggression before minions spawn.
100%. So it does look like we're going to see that leash on the bot side for J4 starting on blue. And then looks like Olaf's going to be starting, helping the Maokai get his blue as well. So they're going to be pathing opposite sides of the map. I do see chat telling me that there is no game audio. I will do my best to solve that now. Not entirely sure why that's not coming through. So I'll do my best to continue debugging that as best as possible while keeping this stream live. And for game 2, I'll make sure that that is fixed if I do not get it now. Because if I tab out of this, I will not be able to... you guys will not be seeing the game live as I am. So I want to prioritize that over the sound. So we see the early hook from Thresh. Nothing following up there from the Varus.
Level 1 Thresh, if you have Q, isn't honestly that threatening, just simply because you don't have the Flay. ADCs typically don't have a lot of threat at that point of the game. I was going to ask your opinion on this. You said you're a jungler as well,
Yep.
to some extent. Maokai's starting topside and pathing bottom, as opposed to pathing upwards to try and push in that Ornn
Yep.
or push him out of lane. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
Another hook, by the way.
yeah, definitely another hook from Thresh. So starting blue on Maokai isn't necessary, but it definitely helps your first jungle clear. So that's really the reasoning for it. That when you pick Maokai jungle, you kind of are somewhat limited to blue. We see Flash coming out of Varus as Zyrakan are poking, and what a great Summoner Spell burn there. And we see
And Jarvan is
J4 coming
behind them
from
too.
behind with no Flash on this Varus. This is not looking too good. Here we go. He's getting the poke, and they do get out of there safely, get the poke, and if I'm Varus, I am a little nervous down here.
Especially missing your heal now too.
100%. Yep, he burned both sums. No sums burned on the side of the church. That's a winning trade. We see Maokai coming in. He did a 3 camp and then went straight down to the bot lane. We do
Was
see that
spotted on the ward in the tri-bush though.
he was. And so coming back up, Jarvan's already made his way up to the mid lane. That Syndra was pushing in hard while all that was happening down in the bot lane. He's going to let this push in and take a slow push here. So he's going to get a slight freeze on his side. And we do see Maokai taking his red down here. So
looks like Olaf has been pushed in by the Ornn, and Ornn now has a chance to roam. Not what we're expecting from that early matchup, but Ornn looking for some deep vision on the Maokai's blue.
Yep, just wanted to... I'm actually not sure why he used that ward there. You would think that he would use it here just to make sure that he can also spot the Lux coming through, or the Syndra, if a Syndra wanted to gank the mid lane, coming from the mid lane in particular. Setting the ward here, they already knew that
Maokai was bot side.
Maokai was bot
and he's still
side.
showing, in fact.
Yeah, he is. And we do see a first blood on the side of the church. We did miss it down here, but it does look like that first blood does go to Xayah onto that Thresh. So that's exactly what we wanted to see from the Xayah Rakan, both starting with pretty traditional summoner spells, and Xayah still has her cleanse.
And notably too, Xayah, I find also snowballs. People say that Varus is a snowball champ. I find Xayah is the same way, and she also scales extremely well. So that early kill, I expect to lead into some good pressure, maybe some early drakes as well.
Absolutely.
And good trading on the part of Syndra there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get some of those stacks.
Yeah, this Syndra's really holding her own. When we did scouting, as I mentioned multiple times, this mid laner on the side of the church has absolutely crazy OPGG. He really does seem to be their carry, and we do see them getting Olaf pushed all the way in, nearly dead, doesn't burn any of his sums. So that is a good trade for Olaf because we see, for Olaf because we see that Ornn burned his flash there. So.
And Olaf notably still has teleport to come back if he decides to reset. That being said, the lifesteal, I believe, is going to make up for that.
Yeah, them knowing that Jarvan was top lane, they just decided to punish right here, even with a level 4 Maokai, and they're going to try to take this dragon. But Xayah and Rakan are going in 2v3 trying to stop this dragon right here, and we see Lux rotating.
And they are backed up by this.
They are.
No level 6s yet. They do get the dragon. Maokai will get out. The regen from red buff going to heal him up just enough that Ignite doesn't finish him.
But Xayah gets that double
2 more
kill.
kills.
Yeah,
Xayah. This is what we were talking about with that snowball earlier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not actually where I was thinking about seeing it, but that snowball coming in, and it's not how I was planning on seeing it, because I was expecting to see the snowball as we see Syndra get out of here safely. I was expecting to see...
Did expend ultimate for that too.
He did?
Once you hit level 6. Yeah. To get the Syndra low, I think.
Absolutely. Or to try to get the kill there. And I was expecting to see an early lead coming in from the snowball as part of the Jarvan. And when they did get that first blood, Jarvan wasn't there. Maokai was. And then Jarvan wasn't even there for this dragon. They had Lux rotate, and they're getting a huge lead here, not even from their jungler, which is exactly what you want to see, because it gives Jarvan the ability to get some clears down, get his level 6, scale up, and with the way the new smite works, you want to get your smite, I don't know what you want to call it, your little jungle monster with you down as fast as possible. And when your teammates are taking objectives for you or helping you contest objectives, you can get your smite down so you hit full smite before the other jungler. So,
and notably off the back of all of this, Varus is now missing out on a lot of farm and even some XP, it looks like, as hers was able to freeze the wave successfully. And Jarvan sitting in the wing makes that very dangerous for him to step up.
Absolutely.
Looks like they've kind of sniffed it out, though, but we'll see how patient they can be.
We'll see. Here comes Thresh, level 3. I don't think that he's going to win this.
Yep. Manages to play past the flag and drag, but it does look like he... maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, flash
Jarvan flash. Oh, we see the hook from Thresh and the Ignite.
And that's what they needed to come back into this. They're still at a big deficit, but you'll take what you can get at this point.
Yeah, that was they played that as well as they could have. They if he knows his limits, that was a great example of what limit testing should look like. He didn't die. He pushed it to the very max, and they won that trade. So very good on the side of Thresh there, looking for that vision. Maybe he didn't anticipate it happening that way, but it worked out for him in the end.
And now with the wave crashing, he should be able to collect most of this under the tower as the enemy bot lane, his and hers, they go and look for some vision and potentially a bit of a roam.
Yeah, and this is solo XP for Varus, which even though that Thresh is still level 3, having the Varus soak up this XP is exactly what you want to see because that Xayah is already level 6 and with the 3 kills, so we want to see this Varus match that as fast as possible. And Thresh is one of those champions where you can be behind an XP and still have an impact with the CC and things that he brings to fights and, just fights in the bot lane, so.
Absolutely. One thing I want to touch on too, we saw that Olaf got shoved out early, but he has made up and even surpassed CS on the Ornn. He's got about a 20 CS lead at the moment.
Yep, and we do see Maokai start this Rift Herald. They knew that we saw that Syndra was hard pinging where the Jarvan was. They know that he's taking this Maokai's red, but Maokai doesn't even care because Maokai feels safe up in this top lane, just taking the Herald up here, and that is going to be 2 objectives for this Maokai, which after getting that kill in the bot lane for Varus, getting the first 2 objectives, even though they have a 1,500 gold deficit, that's exactly what you want to see. So, very good stuff. He traded red for Herald. I'll take that trade any day. And he might even be able to get his red up here.
Absolutely. And especially if you have knowledge that the Jarvan is in your bot side, he's going to take a little while to come back up and contest this. And with the Herald, you should be able to make up some of that gold deficit, especially if you get it with plates or use it for an early turret, depending on if any of your lanes get to push in and have enough pressure to take some plates on their own first.
For sure. And here comes this Syndra. This Syndra did not know that Jarvan was just biding his time, being patient there, and that Syndra dies right there. And we see the kill go over to the Lux, which we'll see where she takes it. She could still go Liandry's because she started with the Lost Chapter, so it's either going to be Liandry's or Luden's and she uses her ult to clear this wave just to get that crash so she can get a really solid back. And actually, she's going to take some plates here.
Yeah, I really like this because you know that the Syndra is still dead. Using your ult to crash the wave means that Syndra's going to miss most of this wave. Even though it is a cannon, she's still dead for long enough that she should miss at least all of the melees.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she got 1 solo plate there. That's really going to accelerate, and she might even be coming back for a second plate. Syndra's still coming down lane. She should have enough time to get a plate here. She's not autoing the turret. She's just going to get this XP and clear this wave and let it crash. She's not going to get another plate. It does not seem like it, but she does get this wave to crash, which is exactly what she wants. Because her TP is almost up, and she won't even need to burn it. Looks like Church here is going to take the second dragon. It is a mountain dragon. They have everyone rotating. We do see Maokai around the back of the pit. Maybe he can test it, but it looks like he's just going to back off.
Yeah, smart move. I think contesting this 1v3, especially when you know you don't have any backup coming through, is just not a smart idea. You've already got one Drake, you've got the Herald. There's no rush on this one.
Yeah, I think that is really great analysis. There's no need to rush it. We'll see what kind of soul this is coming through, though, for this game. Is there any particular soul you want to see for either of these teams? And if so, what are you wanting to see from either team? What soul do you think benefits them the most?
Honestly, I might get some hate for this, but I really like the Cloud Soul. If you take a look on the ultimates on both teams, actually, you have some very good ultimates, like Ornn or Maokai, that once those are cast, the extra move speed from those souls, plus the CDR on the Cloud Drakes themselves, it just makes it very impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. And that movement speed does help these roams as we might see a dive coming up here. This Syndra might get pinched. We know that Jarvan's up here. It's a little cheekiness coming up here from the top side. We're not entirely sure what's going to be coming up here, but we might see a dive, but it looks like Jarvan's going to contest it. We see Maokai force Jarvan off. He looks like he might drop this Herald up here.
I think that's what he's looking for. I don't know how much mileage they'd get out of it at this point with Jarvan being there. He could just smite it away. It would get the initial crash. They do drop it.
They do. Ornn stopped his back. He is still really, really tanky. Level 10, he farmed he is 30 CS below, so could see all... And, yep, we see the Cataclysm coming out from Jarvan.
Good
And
return kill with the Lux ultimate,
absolutely,
but that's the power of early Olaf. The
100%.
shield, the shield coming through and allowing him to use his E to execute the Jarvan.
Absolutely. We see the 1-for-1 up there with the Herald drop, cutting down, keeping this gold lead down at 1,500 as it just goes down to 2,000 now that Thresh has died down here in the bot lane. And we do see Varus starting to back, but he does cancel it. We're going to see if we see a Xayah Rakan dive, which without a jungler, that's probably one of the best bot lane duos to dive by themselves without any other assistance because of that knockup coming from the Rakan. So maybe they do decide to do this as we see Thresh coming back to the lane.
And no sums, no ult on this Varus. If he's not careful there, he could lose his life too.
He could. I'm curious to know if they know that Maokai's on the top side taking his blue up here, because if they're aware of that, they could just keep this pushed in. They do have a lot of gold to cash in. We know that Xayah already does have that Gale Force, but she is sitting on some gold, so we'll see what's going on here.
Also, they don't have any vision at all that I can see. Well, now they've got the one word. Oh no, yeah, they've got the one word down on their jungle, but I don't think they had any way of knowing where the Maokai was at that point. So better safe than sorry, and I guess that's what they're going with.
Yeah, and we see Syndra get the kill over here. That's really great, getting that Lux shut down, and Lux is going to be down for 25 seconds here, so that gives Syndra some time to cut this CS gap that's happening. She's about 25 CS down. We see CS gaps on the side of Syndra and Olaf in their benefit, and then Xayah has a 43 CS lead right now, so big CS gaps dependent on the lane for each team.
And it is the shield bow on Varus, so we are seeing the on hit come through. I expect once he gets another item, that's going to be when they're going to want to start looking for these team fights. Maybe potentially grab the shutdown on Xayah if possible. She is slippery though, with that ultimate and Gale Force. It's not easy to catch her.
Yeah, she's as slippery as she can be, especially with she got her full boots too, which Varus doesn't have any boots. So we'll see what's coming on up here. Down in the bot lane was still about a 2k gold lead for the side of the church, and we see Xayah start and engage. We see the Maokai ultimate come out. They lock down the Xayah. That's a great kill for Varus, getting the gold onto
And
him.
TP channeled also from the Syndra, and
Yeah,
they are able to get themselves another one.
exactly. Having that unleashed TP only up for about unleashed for about a minute, come down, helps the fight down there, having the Syndra and getting the Jarvan. But we do see Lux pick up the kill, coming a little sneaky. They didn't have vision up by their blue, so
I was thinking she was just coming down to dissuade any dive, but she'll take more than that. She will just evaporate the health bar of that Maokai.
yeah, and she's really hard poking the Syndra. She wants this Syndra to cut. She is ready to fight this Syndra.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna
And she
QE
doesn't
her
want to
right
take.
here.
This could be it.
Yeah, and she took Comet. Oh, as we see Syndra flash out, and she's gonna keep trying to contest this as we see that Lux ultimate. It's very close to being back up, but she's just gonna go back to the mid lane, keep her farm advantage, and she's likely gonna gain a level advantage now.
Yep. No plates left. However, she should be able to pressure at least some of the health bar on this tower.
100%. As we see the church, after losing that fight down in the bot lane, despite the Lux coming down and picking up that kill on the Maokai, try to get an advantage here on this Infernal Drake.
And it doesn't look like they'll be able to contest. This Lux is just sitting in the right spot at the right time. Every time it seems. They'll get the Maokai ultimate. Ultimately, it doesn't do anything. And the dragon will go over to church.
Yeah, if I was that Maokai, I would have backed off. They didn't have vision in this bush right here, and we know that this Lux is doing a lot of damage, and they did not know where the Lux was coming from, as they have gotten control wards very well set up in that area. As we see the Cataclysm coming out from Jarvan down in the bot lane, shutting down that Thresh, Varus is just going to back off, and it looks like they're going to take this bot lane turret. I'm curious to see if when Maokai spawns, now that he's up, it looks like he's pathing straight towards that second Herald.
Yeah, you got to get the consolation prize if you can, because you know that this bot lane isn't defendable at this point. They're just going to take it before you get there anyways. And Jarvan taking away more camps from the Maokai too, just to put them as far behind as they possibly can, making sure that they don't have any free gold to come back with.
Absolutely, and we see this Lux going to 1v1 this Olaf. That isn't a 1v1 you see very often, but Olaf is already pretty low, but this Lux just doing a lot of damage. We see the Maokai flash in, trying to kill this Lux. I don't. The damage is there, but this Lux is doing a lot of damage as well. So that's a nice shutdown for the side of the Maokai, getting him his second item. He already has that Demonic Embrace. Looks like he's going to be trying to get a. I would assume a Leandries, but I know that Demonic is just broken right now, so he could opt for a more tankier Mythic.
It looks like the Jack show because it looks like he's building into the Aegis of the Legion.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
or it could still be the Radiant Virtue, but I know that was nerfed, so I don't know if that's what we'll be seeing.
I agree.
Great
As we
stun from the Cinder here.
Yeah, great stun. We see the Ornn Ultimate and Maokai Ultimate come out as they're fighting over this Herald. It honestly is a burger flip right now. I'm not entirely sure who's going to take this Herald as it resets, which is really unfortunate. And we see this TP come in for this Olaf, trying to secure the second Herald for the side of Team Scorch. What a great first game in this series. This is a very close game, only 2k gold difference separates the two teams 18 minutes in. As we see the Varus Ultimate shut down that Lux, but they don't follow up very much on that.
Great play by the Thresh to stop the Ornn from knocking them up against the wall. Unfortunately, he will still pay with his life, and Lux just evaporates the enemy team again.
Yeah, we
So
see
they
it.
get the Herald, but they lose 3 for it.
They do, yeah. A 3 for nothing there. You get the Herald. It does. That gold lead is only a little under 3k now, so it is increasing. But nonetheless, you're only down one dragon. You're only down 3k gold. You have a Maokai. You have a Syndra. You have a Varus. Still a very winnable game, but you're probably going to want to prioritize the next dragon, not put them on soul point. Having a Jarvan, really fed Lux and Azaya with 2 Infernals is not what you want. As we see Olaf try to get the 1v1 kill on this Ornn right here, and he does complete that kill.
And that's, I think, what your avenue back into the game is. If you are Team Scorch, you need to focus down. You need to focus on picks because the people who are fed aren't tanky enough to defend themselves against that. Speaking of picks, though, I
Yeah,
think the Olaf has caught himself out. He has no ultimate and no sums, and that's it for him.
that's it, 100%. I was actually hoping that he'd pick up the 1-for-1 there. Actually, you could have considered it a 2-for-1 with having gotten that solo kill on the Ornn earlier, but it ends up just being a 1-for-1 if you consider that Ornn kill earlier. So not really much of a pick there. Doesn't really help out Team Scorch very much, as they're going to need their Olaf to potentially contest for this Baron, because with the 4k gold lead and with it cashed in with this Lux and Xayah, you could see them turn for this Baron here, at least starting to set up vision for it.
And another notable thing, Ornn has teleport, so I expect him to continue down to this bot lane for a split push, while no one on the side of Team Scorch has teleport to match. So if you want to contest this Baron, you have to have your teammates there, but then you run the risk of Ornn running through your bot lane.
Absolutely. And it looks like they're just going to prioritize this bot lane down here. After all these backs, after all this gold cash, we have a 7-2 and 4 Lux with a 30 gold or 30 CS difference. She's level up on this Syndra. It's actually a really good counter pick into the Syndra. So they last picked the Lux here, and Lux has the range to outpoke the Syndra in lane, and if she can get fed and get those kills, she can really do damage in fights. So I actually really like that Lux pick.
And especially effective at shoving out lanes quickly and then roaming and just picking people off from a range.
Absolutely.
They're going to drop the Herald mid here. They should get the charge. I don't believe it's going to take out the turret at this point, though.
It won't. They don't get that turret bounty.
As Ornn threads the needle, they're still marching forward.
Yeah, they're really confident in this engage here.
And this is just chaos. There's ultimates flying everywhere, left and right.
As of right now, we see a 2-for-2. We see Ornn and Rakan dropped in exchange for Syndra and Thresh. So honestly, if I'm the side of Team Scorch, I actually like that trade. You're getting the Ornn out of it for now, so he can stop his scaling a little bit. Right now, he's only upgraded his own mythic. Getting him dead for as long as possible, as many deaths, is just going to delay him upgrading the other mythic. So they're fighting for the second dragon here, as we see Lux take down that Maokai so he can't smite, and we see Jarvan secure that dragon. This is starting to look like a bloodbath, even though it's a 3k gold, 3.5 gold lead at this point still. We have that 2 dragon advantage and just a really fed mid laner and ADC for the side of Church.
That being said, Olaf does manage to grab a 900 gold shutdown for himself before he goes down. So we'll see what he can do with that. It should mean he can live a little longer in the team fights. He also appears to have gone Jack Show and not the Gore Drinker. So I think that's a little more tankiness overall, but there is less. It's much harder to bait in with the hey look at me, I'm low, and then you just press your button and you're back up a significant amount of HP.
That's true, especially with his built-in Omnivamp, and he did go for that Hydra just to keep that Ravenous Hydra, just to make sure that he's getting some AD damage as well, since he did start that Jack shows. But yeah, getting that shutdown is really helpful. But right now, I'm not seeing the scaling come through that we wanted to see for the side of Team Scorch, and we're seeing it for the side of the Church. So it's going to be a
Absolutely.
tough comeback here. We're going to have to see a possible Baron steal or some really nice picks that can set up an objective advantage there for them if they're going to get back into this game.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to be looking for some kind of angle and a Maokai ultimate. Hopefully, they can catch out the Zaya, get that shutdown onto one of their carries, either Syndra or Varus, get some extra gold in their pockets.
Yeah, and as chat's saying, this Infernal stacking Lux, that's just something you never want to see. As we see Rakan jump in on this Maokai, but being Rakan, he can just dish dash out of there. He's just a little sneaky little slippery little guy. So we see the Ornn ultimate coming through as they're engaging in this mid lane. We see Xayah starting to poke. Jarvan's going to jump on in. Olaf's going to trade for the turret.
And Rakan jumps in and ults, but dies before anyone actually gets caught by it.
And it
And
looks
I
like
believe they
they're going to turn
believe
for
they
this
need to.
Baron.
It does look like that's the way they're headed. So they will lose their mid tier one and their bottom tier one, but that's a trade I'll take for a Baron, especially when you're this far ahead. You'll be able to answer those turrets very easily, I believe.
Well, the big thing to make note here is it was just a 3k gold lead. It's only 1500. If they, because they got those objective bounties, if they can also stop this Baron or even steal it for themselves, if they can just poke them off, that's a trade I will take, actually. You know, you're taking 2 turret bounties and possibly a Baron steal, and we see Ornn just miss his flash there, and he just gets
You hate to
slaughtered
see
by the
it.
Syndra. Yeah, that's unfortunate. He's trying to flash out. And we
And this
see
could be a great team fight. Uh, if they can get the Zaya, not quite.
Not quite,
Uh,
yeah. That Xayah picks herself up a triple kill. We see a 4-for-1 trade, and now they're going to take the Baron. So now that trade's looking a lot more even. We're back at a 3k gold lead, soon to be 5k gold lead after they complete this Baron. The only person up on the side of the Scorch is this Thresh, and there's nothing he can do to contest here. He's just going to have to watch hopelessly and wait for that Baron ping that we all hate seeing when you know the other team takes it. So really unfortunate. We got that Infernal Drake going to be coming up here in about a minute and a half. So as we see Olaf pinging the Drake, they know that it's paramount that they grab that.
yeah, one more. This is Soul. I will say I really did like that teleport angle that they were looking for, that Tem on Syndra had gone for and gone around, got that flank. That's how they got the initial kill onto the Ornn. Too bad for them that it wasn't able to turn into more than that.
Yeah, I concur. I really liked that TP as well, especially with those objective bounties being traded. Like I said, if they had gotten those objective bounties and somehow traded for the Baron or stolen that Baron, I wouldn't have liked. I liked the teleport, and I would have liked them not to have contested that Baron because they wanted them to. They wanted to start the Baron and then peel off it and fight and win that fight because they knew they had the gold advantage there and the dragon advantage that's going to give them that damage. So I would have liked them to not face check it and try to steal it from the back. I think that was probably the smarter play because they lost 4 and they still got the Baron. So I would have liked to see them just not have died because, in my opinion, I think they would have gotten the Baron regardless. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, Ornn missing his flash there didn't really change the fact that, they still won that fight. So,
Quite strongly, decisively. Ornn waiting in the wings does have ultimate if they want to look. Syndra's stun is down, but they do manage to push off the church from this dragon at this point. Not that it's spawned yet, but they have set up and they have river control at this moment.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Ornn ultimate does come out. He's gonna get a big ol' whiff on that as we see the center stun come onto the Starvin. That could have been a good pick. We also to see the Maokai ultimate come out. They might be able to get a pick here. This is actually the best you can hope for given the advantage that Team Church has right now. But coming from the back, we see the Jarvan Cataclysm as he gets shut down by this Varus. And we also see Maokai just get blown up, so no junglers for this jungle objective. And oh, the
That was
Syndra.
an amazing scatter of the week. Gets 3, and now Church has to tuck tail and run, I believe, unless Lux can find some kind of outplay here.
They do. Right now, it's still a 2v2. It's Olaf Varus versus Lux Ornn, and he doesn't know that they have vision here, and this Lux is probably going to pick up this kill. Flash, Q, dead. Didn't even need the E. So that was the best you could hope for. Like you said, that scatter of the week plus that Syndra. That Syndra stun just in general was just absolutely nutty, but unfortunately just not quite enough given the gold deficit that they were facing.
And we do see an immediate teleport come through from the Ornn. He's going to start this dragon up as Olaf comes around. He's looking to say, no, not yet. I'm not willing to roll over and let you guys have this Infernal Soul.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to target that Lux, which, I mean, given the 1v2 and the this situation being so dire for this team, that's who you want to target. But with the Ornn there just being able to CC you, but we see the stopwatch come through for the Lux. He might be able to get the kill on her with the E, and he does. He also gets the shutdown. This Ornn with the Jack shows is absolutely just drained, tanking 2v1ing them with the Maokai and Syndra coming in at the very end there. They're going to be able to pick up this dragon. It's only a 3k gold lead for the side of the church, and right now we have ourselves a game.
And that Maw Shield came in very clutch. Otherwise, the Lux would have bursted him for sure. There would have been no contest, but they managed to stay alive, and the Infernal Soul does not go over to the church. Scorch says, stand back. We're taking this one.
Yeah, and we see that shutdown going on to that Olaf, so that's only going to make him scarier, as we just saw how scary he can be as they're trying to engage with him. I talked about Olaf falling off, but man, that Olaf really proved me wrong there. He is just, seems like he's getting stronger and stronger as he just hit his 3-item spike. He's that Maul, Jack Chose, and that Hydra. So right now, things are looking good. They're just less than a 2k gold lead for the side of the church. We'll see where they play from here.
And interestingly enough, he actually went for Swifties too, just to allow himself to stick on to those squishy carries a lot better. Lux has a slow; it's not going to matter as much with the Swifties. Mind you, Merc Treads would do do a similar thing against slows, but having that extra move speed at all times as opposed to just through CC has been working well for him.
Yeah, really great point. I noticed the Swifties, but I didn't point it out. But that is a very interesting and notable and worth pointing out build there to have gotten those. So we see Team Church just hovering over with Vision up in this top side, trying to get a pick. Syndra is not stepping up. She's sniffing this out. She says, you know what? I don't need to step up. There's no reason for me. I'm not gonna. As we see Maokai, Varus, and Thresh rotating over from mid. Lux is pushing in mid lane up here for the side of the Church. So they have 3 pushing lanes right now. They do have that advantage. Looks like they're going to try to get Baron Prio, but they do only have that 2k gold lead, so that's not a huge difference. They're just dancing around up here in the top side. This is interesting to see where it goes from here.
Yep, I expect to see just a bit of a fight for Vision. There are no teleports available on anyone, so I don't expect to see a lot of split pushing at this point with the Baron spawning soon. They will take away this blue.
Oh, they did catch the
flash.
Syndra. Yeah, they got her flashed. Now they're going to be able to turn that. That was an unnecessary fight for the blue there on the side of the Syndra. They did flash her. They flashed for her, the Jarvan did, and forced her flash, and she still goes down.
As a mid laner myself, I understand that primal instinct to protect the blue buff, but you're all right. There's no world in which it's worth it at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially
However,
mid-game.
big Maokai ult comes through.
Yeah, Maokai ult does come through. It's a 4v5, so still not the fight they're looking for as we see Thresh flash out and get killed by this Xayah. So right now it's a 5v3 on the map. Cooldown timers are 40 seconds, and they're just going to turn for this Baron and say 5v3 us at the Baron. We don't care. We're going to take this gold. We're going to take this Baron buff, and what are you going to do about it? So
Without Maokai ultimate, I do expect it to be relatively uncontested. That being said, it looks like they're looking.
They are looking. He might. Yeah, they just burned that down so fast with the damage of that Xayah and that Lux coming in, and now that Orange just upgraded the Gale Force over for that Xayah and that Gore Drinker for that.
They do burn Xayah's cleanse with Varus ultimate. I don't know if they can get anything else from that. Olaf is running through. They do get the Rakan, who jumps in a little eagerly. You cannot see Olaf when he's in his ultimate, so his ult just beats Rakan's there.
Yeah, and
Ornn,
that Maul really helped that
live?
Olaf. Yeah, Ornn lived there. That Maul was really doing some damage, really keeping that Olaf alive, but unfortunately just not quite enough.
And I believe I caster's curse the Ornn. He did end up going down as well. Thresh and Maokai versus Jarvan. I expect this to be a bit of a wet noodle fight at this point.
I agree. They still have this Baron, so as we see Jarvan coming out. So what I expect from here, I expect them to take this Baron buff, get the Zai up, get the Rakan up, get the Ornn up, and just end. I don't even think that they want to fight for this soul. What I'm expecting them is just to ARAM and end. That would be my prediction here. But we could see them take a couple angles. You don't want this Olaf to get any bigger, and you don't want this Maokai to continue to get his items. So he did go that Radiant Virtue that we were talking about, which is a little bit surprising. So it is tankier, but I would have expected more like a Jack shows or something. But nonetheless, I just expect them to end this game shortly. I'm the side of the church. I don't want this game to go much longer.
No, and especially the way that the team fights have been going lately, they've been a lot more even than what you would have expected with the early leads that the church has had. Having lost most of their barons already, I believe only Jarvan is left with it. As we wait for teams to regroup and set up for the next objective, which will be that third, or sorry, pardon me, the fourth, the word is escaping me. Fire Drake. Infernal, that is the word.
Absolutely. So as I'm seeing, my frames streaming are absolutely gross. So we're gonna have to figure that out next game.
Okay.
Something is
We
going
see
on.
Aura on ultimate to start the engage. Stopwatch is not going to buy any time for the Syndra. However, Olaf is still running rampant. Can't seem to catch one target though, and will be taken down by Xayah as the rest of Scorch is trying to run for the hills. Thresh gets caught by the Lux Bind, and this might be, like you said, this could be the end of the game right here.
I think it is. I think it is.
As they march forward, ignoring the fact that they have no minions under this tower, they're just going to brute force it.
And ignoring the fact that this Infernal Drake is up. So yeah, it's a 1v5. They're just going to end it. They got all 5 down here in the base, and they're just going to take this game 1. So chat, I will see... get these frames fixed. I think what I'm going to do with you, Reginald, is I will not stream to you, and we'll have to add you as a spectator in client yourself. So we'll just do it that way, and I think that should help.
Okay, no problem.
And I might reset the
That open
stream
then.
here because yeah, on my end everything looks fine, but in the stream it is absolutely gross. So we'll make sure that we get a better view there for you guys.
Works for me. And that is a decisive end to game 1.
Yep. What's your IGN?
Mine is. Oh, I just changed it actually. What is it? C. So capital C. You know what? I will just copy and paste it to you.
Okay.
There it is. It was exciting to see some moments where Team Scorch seemed to come alive after being down from so far. I hope that they can take that even further into the next game and pull us through into a third game afterwards.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we saw enough from the side of Scorch that we should have a competitive series, as you're saying. I think that it wasn't a total destruction. We had, one team with 3 dragons, one team with 2, despite a gold lead pretty much the entire game. They were holding their own. They were winning some fights. That Olaf is really contesting, making sure they didn't let them get that soul at the time that they did, that they were fighting for it. So really good stuff there. Really good stuff from that Syndra holding her own against that Lux in that lane. Really having big impacts in those team fights. So we'll see what they can do and what changes they make in draft here.
And I apologize. Is it going to be the same link for that for the draft again?
It won't. They'll send me a new one, and I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, as we're seeing, looks like the stream is back to good quality. Hopefully when we get in client, it's not as laggy and gross as it did look. Sorry for that, guys. I'm still working out the kinks here with the Sweat League and streaming for you guys. Typically, I've never been the one being in control of the stream, despite having the hardware to do so. I just need to make sure all settings are set up functionally and optimally to stream optimally to you guys. So I'm still working out those settings, kinks, and we'll get it. Yes, I'm also working on the audio as well. So let me see what I can do. Let me make sure that I get it. So
Based on what I saw when you opened the settings, it looked like just some kind of bug on Riot's end. I didn't see anything muted or turned down too low. But
no, what I think the issue is I need to make the client what I'm sharing instead of the screen what I'm sharing. So I'll try doing that.
okay, that makes sense.
Okay, there we go. So let me do this. Move. Let me try to add the client here, and this might fix it. So I'm gonna try this to fix the sound coming from the stream. So, and then I can also do that. So chat, as I said, I'm still working out the kinks. If this doesn't fix the in-game client sound, I'll have to mess with other settings to make sure. But as of right now, I'm making it so I'll be streaming the client itself as opposed to my screen showing the client. Maybe that affects the audio because everything else audio-wise is turned on. Audio settings are clear. My client audio is on, and I don't have the client or anything muted in Streamlabs. So we'll see what the problem is from there. And are you in the spectator and the client there, Reginald?
I am.
Great.
At risk of sounding terribly stupid for a moment, it says on my Twitch that the stream's ended and it's not live.
You're
Unless
absolutely
it just
right.
went live again.
It is going live. There we go.
Awesome. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something there.
Nope. All right, so we're back live on the stream. Still recording. There's the draft. Oh, you have the draft link because you're in spectator now. Did you see it?
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Great.
I wasn't looking at the.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Yep, just wanted to make sure that you see that. So we're gonna come over here. I'm gonna take this draft. I'm gonna open it up, put it on stream. So we're back, guys. Hopefully those setting changes will help with the audio in game, and we'll go from here. So. I'm assuming that we'll see 3 mid lane bans coming out again from the side of the church. We do know that this Zoe on the side of Scorch is, or I'm sorry, that the Zoe on the side of the church is absolutely gross. His Lyssandra's gross. His Ari's gross. His Aurelian Soul is gross. I know that they forced him into the Lux, but that Syndra really did, despite banning all these picks, she really held her own. So I expect to see the same draft strategy, but they may give the mid laner what he wants and look to ban elsewhere. So
I was going to say, I don't imagine they're going to let Xayah or Rakan through in the first round, both going to Scorch again after the way that game started. That would be surprising to me.
Yeah, it would be surprising to me as well. And we see them swap sides here, which is our first side swapping of this season. So, yep, we're ready. And so we see Church with first pick and Scorch with last pick. So I'm curious to see how Scorch takes advantage of this last pick and who they're going to last pick. I would expect it to be the mid lane, so mid lane does not get the advantage there. But curious to see. We do see that Nautilus band, the Ash band that coming from the side of the church, and so far, you predicted it. The Xayah and the Zoe so far.
Yeah, I was going to say the Zoe I'll give credit to you on, but after the lead the Xayah got early with that 4-0 start, I would have been very Surprised and honestly disappointed if they had let that go through the first round again. Olaf banned by the church, recognizing that that was probably the biggest problem that they had in team fights for the most part, and targeting the ADC for the church. We'll see what the response is.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely gonna have to see what that response is there. Um,
And
we
again, we see the first pick Maokai, this time from the other team. But
Yeah, they want to take it away, so that is quite interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if they get a little cheeky and put this Maokai elsewhere, but we do expect to see it in the jungle again.
yeah, I would imagine so. Answered by the Amumu, it looks like.
And
Uh,
from what I remember from the looking at the church and scouting them, their support like to play Amumu support. So I wonder if they're taking this away from the side of the church, and if they're also throwing it in their support spot because Amumu is just good in general right now, and we see players like Spica and the LCS playing Amumu, and it is a jungle pick right now, but you never know where they put it. It is also a very good engaged support with all that CC down there, and they're hovering this Lux. Curious to see if they're going to pick this Lux again, and they do.
what I like about this is not only have you denied the church a pick, but you've also got two flex picks here.
Yeah.
Lux could be mid or support, and Amumu could be jungle or support. Um, so
Eh,
you haven't really played your hand in taking these picks, and you, at the same time, you've denied a little bit from the church.
yeah, 100%. Everything is a flex pick right now. Literally everything. And it would be really not common if this Jarvan were to be flexed, but he technically can be flexed too.
That's
So,
true. We've seen him play. I don't know about in this league, but I have seen him played in three different lanes with relative success.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. As we see my kitty Fizz come on screen right now, I have two league inspired cats, Ziggs and Fizz. So
Without knowing anything about the two cats, I already like Ziggs better than Fizz.
oh man, I will say that Fizz is the asshole. I will say he is.
I
He's
mean,
the
it's fitting to the name, right?
It is. He is. He's. I mean, my third highest mastery is Fizz, and I do play a lot of Ziggs as well, so I love them both. But I lean towards Fizz in game. But we do see this Jin from the church. In response, we see the Misfortune. So I expect it to be a Misfortune Amumu bot lane. That is a wonderfully synergized bot lane. But they are hovering the Misfortune. Opt for the Zeri.
Interesting, because you think with Misfortune, you can bully early as well, similarly to. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got the teams mixed up because they've swapped sides. I was going to say similar to how they did last game, but um, yeah, sweet. With the Zeri, you're just looking mainly for scaling, I think.
Yeah, and
And
I'm actually because they picked this Jarvan, that shows that this Maokai is going to be going support almost certainly. This Maokai Jin, that is quite an interesting bot lane as we see Scorch ban out Ornn, making sure that the Church can't pick that for themselves again, and then Lulu for the side of Church banning for the support down there. But I expect that to be a Mumu jungle support actually. So we're not entirely sure where that Amumu's going yet, and as they ban out this Lissandra.
what I will say is Scorch, their support does have a Lulu that he's played a fair bit. Sorry, just looking for the name there. That's Mr. Boomer. So it is possible that he hasn't picked it, but even if we see a Mumu jungle and Lux mid, they've already got a fair amount of AP. I think what they're looking for at this point should be something with a little bit more beefiness to it to round out their draft.
Yeah, 1,000%, 1,000%. Wow, so that has to be in a Mumu jungle now that they're hovering this Taric. Zeri Taric would be really gross. I also would like to see a Zeri Braum. Anything that's just mega ultra disgusting tanky. Braum has a little bit more engaged than the Taric, despite the CC the Taric has. So we'll see where they go. I did see him play some Taric when I scouted, so. And they do take that Aurelion Soul, insta-lock that Aurelion Soul. And
Well, and especially if you know you're playing it into you're likely playing it into Lux, right? So you
yep.
know that Lux does have some early poke, but it's hard for her to just jump on you, and that's kind of what Aurelion Soul is afraid of.
So
Notably,
Udyr
Udyr got
top.
left here.
We're seeing an Udyr top, and countered by that Jax. So they do save that Jax last pick. And we also didn't point this out, but Scorch takes the Lux away from the Church, and they opt to play the Aurelion Soul into the Lux. So that's quite interesting.
I do like the way this draft turned out. Both teams seem to have a solid damage split as well as some well-rounded options. You can split push with the Jax or with the Udyr. You have great team fight potential with the Maokai ult, followed by the Aurelion Soul, just following up with absurd damage. Or on the other side, a Mumu engage with Tarek on top of him, the ult, just phenomenal. I'm very excited to see how this plays out.
I am too. I am too. I'm gonna step away here from my computer for about 10 seconds, turn my lights on as the sun goes down in my area just to get some more light in my room here. So.
And as we revisit the ban phase, some very quick bans coming through, but we already know what they are.
Come on.
Shall I turn in my badge and mark as well?
Yes, I have returned.
Welcome back.
Yes,
Chat,
sorry.
let us know who you think won draft before the game starts.
Yeah, I'm curious as well. Chat making some comments as well. They're saying that Brahm's not in a good place right now, and you're right, he's not. But Brahm's just one of those champions that even when he's not the best, he is viable. So I'll always take a Braum. Cutting down that damage, always being a shield for his ADC down there. And then they're talking about Tarek lethal tempo. Not sure
Are
how
you
I feel.
expecting this to be top lane Tarek, or I don't think that's gonna. Unless I guess you could put Jax in the jungle and a movement support, but I really doubt we're gonna see that.
Well, you could put Jackson top and Tarek in jungle. Tarek jungle as a jungler is extraordinarily difficult if you don't know how to play it. But if you do know how to play it, Tarek jungle is viable. It is weird, but it can work really well. Broxa being one of those junglers who can pull it off really well. If you are a fan of Broxa and everyone watches streams, highly recommend Tarek jungle. Works well.
I will say I've played with Tarek jungle, I believe, or against it once or twice, and it is terrifying. The ganks are surprisingly good if you're someone who's immobile, but at the same time, I doubt that's what we're going to see, despite how exciting that might be.
Yeah, so we do see that Maokai down in the support. We see Tarek down in the support, just, you know, classic. And no cheeky Tarek jungles here. We do have Tattered Pages here in chat saying that they like the draft of the Church this game. They're thinking that Church is just going to 2-0 this series on their way to the first 2-0 of the season. So we'll see. I do favor the Church's draft just because I know how comfortable the Church is on their Udyr top, that being Bogus Bean's most played champion this season. In all types of games, flex, ranked, draft, doesn't matter. He's playing a lot of Udyr top from what I saw. And then the win rate on the Aurelion Soul here. So just talking about the summoners in general and what they're playing and what they're comfortable and good at. Really like seeing the Udyr top, the Aurelion Soul mid. Not even talking about comp. I mean, they have the Maokai support engaged. They have the Jarvan engaged. So a lot coming from the side of the Church this game.
And what I'm noticing too, it doesn't look to me like Scorch have a great aggressive answer into the Aurelion Soul, because Aurelion Soul, if you let him through, you have to be prepared to punish him early, because that's when he's at his weakest, that's when he's vulnerable, and if you let him scale and collect Stardust, he becomes very difficult to deal with in team fights.
Yeah, he comes borderline unstoppable if he gets his Stardust and if he can get his ult being completed early. So
absolutely, and
yeah.
especially depending what his build is. If he goes Rod of Ages into Seraph's Embrace, he becomes incredibly tanky for a mage at least, and it's very hard to just one shot him.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm really looking to also see what Scorch can do here with this comp. I really like the Zeri Tarek. If I'm them, that's what I'm trying to play through. You have the Amumu Zeri. If Amumu can hit some early ganks, get that Jhin not scaling, get that Jhin shut down, and just take some plates with the old Zeri, I think that could be a really good win con here. And then obviously Zeri, at times, depending on her positioning, does have the escape away from that Jarvan engage. So pretty slippery ADC play there. Getting that Zeri ADC slippery potential, excuse me, I stuttered there. But nonetheless, a lot of playmaking from the Zeri and a lot of good setup support around her in order to get those plays set up. So we'll see how they execute on that.
Absolutely. And both teams look like they have great team fights drafted. And like you mentioned, with the Zeri being able to slip out of the Jarvan ult, there aren't too many ADCs who have that ability. I'm excited to see how aggressive they're looking to play versus how safe they could be on the back foot if they do get ganked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna really hope to see Jarvan just be selective on where he ults Sari to make sure that she can't slip out of it without having to burn her flash. So, also, chat, I just want to say I'm gonna be trying 2 different Streamlabs scenes that I tried here. I'm going to be trying to stream the client itself and then my screen to make sure that the sound's coming through. I tried everything, checked all settings. Sound should be coming through just fine. Not sure why it's not for you guys, but I'll be trying 2 different ways to get it to come through. You let me know.
A nice point being made by Spies in the chat that Amumu is undervalued, and Taric Ultimate is very good at negating a lot of the Church's engage power. So we'll see if the Church can pull the trigger before Taric is aware of what's going on, or if Taric will be able to react in time to keep his team alive throughout the very strong engage of the Church.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really, really great play there. Being a jungler or a pseudo jungler myself, Amumu is one of the first junglers I ever learned, and you're absolutely right. His passive is extraordinarily underrated, especially right now. Like I said, you see a lot of viability of Amumu jungle, which is something we haven't seen in 8 years in pro play, and the fact that we're seeing Amumu jungle in pro play just really speaks to how well you can play this champion outside of support, which is where we've traditionally seen him in the last few years. So, a lot of playmaking there. Don't see any unnatural runes from any of these teams. We do see Asol take the Comet. Not unnatural. He does have a lot of poke. I have seen a lot of Dark Harvest rune builds for Aurelion Sol with him being so new. And I also want to say shout out to Bryles in chat shouting me out. I'm going to be switching over to the client here. So you guys let me know if you can hear this.
Notably, with the runes that you were talking about, Aurelion Sol, I think, typically takes either First Strike or Comet. In this matchup, I would say First Strike would have been a poor choice if they had gone that route, simply because I think Lux is going to be hitting you first most of the time. Where Comet will allow you to answer some of that poke. And with Aftershock Amumu, I'm expecting a little bit of a tankier build to come through rather than the Phase Rush.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah, I'm seeing that too, chat. I'm seeing no audio. Not entirely sure why, oh, that's why I have sound disabled. Sorry about that, guys. That's completely on my end. So I'm just going to get this balanced out here for you guys. We're going to get the nice old sound, and we're going to be ready to go. So hopefully we don't get any frame issues again last game. I got everything reset on my end. It was only really happening the last 5 to 6 minutes of that last game, so hopefully we get it all evened out. As I said, only second stream for the Sweat League this year should be hashed out after a few trials. So as we see, Jarvan start down on his blue, going to be passing towards top, trying to get that Udyr ahead on the side of the Church. As we see Scorch, they've switched sides. On the side of Scorch, Church playing red side. We see the Amumu starting this blue up here. They're both going to be starting their bot side and pathing top.
Which means there could be a potential fight for the top scuttle. So lane priority in mid and top is going to matter a lot here. As Udyr hits level 2 first and is able to push Jax off the wave, and Jax is just going to look for some experience and wait for that wave to crash into his tower.
Totally, and we see both junglers three camp right away. We're going to see if any of them try to make a play here in the mid lane. I could see Amumu pathing back down to bot lane. If I was playing that Amumu, I would very much try to get this Zeri ahead. I think a 3 camp right back down to their bot lane is almost certainly the best play he can make, with Aurelion Sol just being so slippery. And Amumu's walking to the red side of the jungle of that Jarvan just to make sure. And he's going to be ganking this. Aurelion Sol gets the stun, gets the bandage, and he gets the first blood. Would have liked to see that gold go onto that Lux, but you know what? We'll take a first blood anywhere where we can get it.
Just a point of order. What time is your game at? Because I might be a little bit ahead of you at this point.
I'm at 2:53, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All right, we should be synced up now.
3 minutes. Okay, as we see Jax up in this top lane.
Move looking for another gank. Does land a bandage.
Oh, he
toss.
does! And he has another bandage toss, and he gets it. And we're going to get a fed Amumu jungle in this game. That Amumu passive with that aftershock. We'll see what he can do with that.
And this is a great start from red side here. Patiently waiting out the CC immunity on Adir for the second bandage toss.
Yeah,
Does look like Jarvan is going to be able to take the scuttle, though, as Amumu's health bar is a little low and Jax needs to take a reset.
Well, not only that, we see Jarvan having cleared 6 camps and Amumu only having cleared 3 right now. So despite the 2 gank kill, he still has that an EXP disadvantage because he's only cleared half the amount of camps. So that's actually pretty significant there. And we do see Aurelion Sol get this big push in, and as we see Udyr get the solo kill onto that Jax, they're going to be invading this Amumu's red. Amumu's just going to have to back off here. There's nothing he can do. So he's smart enough to know, hey, they're in my jungle, they're going to be taking my red, I'm just going to take my chickens, and I'm just going to have to deal with it. As we see Jax TP back up into the top lane, they might actually try to pinch here for this red. We're going to have an early fight over this red. Amumu goes in.
Amumu needs to crack his aftershock. He
Amumu
does lose the
smites
smite
it.
fight, has to flash out.
Yep, yep, loses the smite, gets it.
They get Jarvan's flash in return.
They do, and we see that, wow, Lux roaming up. We're getting a 2 for 2 here, or a 1 for 1, but we see Jax get that double kill. That is a lot of gold onto that Jax right now. That is a bloody game, but despite all this fighting, only a 300 gold lead for the Scorch. You'd like to see a lot more if you're on their side.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that's notable is Lux has actually participated in almost every kill, just whether she threw a shield but she was able to assist all of those with roaming.
Yeah, almost all of them. That second kill up in the top lane, she unfortunately wasn't a part of. But after she roamed up for that red fight, you know, she lost some CS advantage. That Aurelion Sol has a slight CS advantage as she makes it up here. She's just going to push this in, likely back, match the backs with that Aurelion Sol as she does. So we see Maokai and Jhin just continually pushing in this bot lane. We'll see where they go from here. I'd really like to see Zeri get a lead, but it's really even down here. Nobody's backed. Tarek does still have his biscuit.
And if I'm Zeri in this situation, I'm more than happy to be pushed in and just farm safely under turret for a while. I know that I'm outscaling if I'm the Zeri versus the Jhin. That being said, if they're looking for any aggressive early dragon takes, they are going to want to get some lane prio.
Yeah. 100%. We see Jax jump in onto this Udyr, get the stun, get the CC. He has double buffs off that fight, and he's going to get this Udyr up here, looks like. But Udyr's damage is really coming through. I'm shocked to see that. Udyr does have that.
Not to mention the empowered turtle stance gives him that massive shield.
It does. And, and he does get the stun there. He takes the shower shot, and that shutdown onto the Udyr. Still a 300 gold lead. Not much of a gold lead, but nonetheless a gold lead for the Church. Or Team Scorch, I'm sorry. We do see Lux miss her E, miss her ult.
And that's a great ultimate by Aurelion Sol, just to ensure that he doesn't get caught. And they look to turn, but it looks like it's just going to be an exchange of ultimates as both teams part ways.
100%. I think we have an even gold game here now, only about a 200 gold difference between them. So, what I'm seeing here early in this game is it is just an absolute travesty that the first 2 kills went on to the Amumu. It's great to get those 2 early kills, but with the game being so even now, the gold going on to that Amumu would not have been an issue had they got a gold lead and kept it. But the fact that they had a slight gold lead and have already lost it, you really don't want to see the gold on that Amumu right now.
No, absolutely not. And especially because you do have the Lux as well is going to be dealing more damage because of the Amumu when he's around. So if he's alive and he's in those fights, Lux is already dealing a lot of damage if she gets a lead. She's going to be dealing even more.
Yeah, 1000%.
And it looks like we're not going to see the Rod of Ages build from Aurelion Sol. He's got that Fiendish Codex in his inventory. I imagine that's going to be going towards Liandry's.
Yeah, I would imagine it does go towards the Liandry's as well. I mean, theoretically, he could not be building his Mythic first and be going for something, but having that Mana Crystal, you have to imagine that that's the Liandry's for sure. As we see Jarvan start this first dragon, it being a Cloud Drake, not quite sure why they're so zealous about starting this early Cloud Drake early and why they want, but we see Aurelion Sol come down. We see the bot lane of Team Scorch come in. It's going to be a fight for this.
And it looks like red side has the inside track to get in. They could force something with Jarvan and Maokai in the pit. Jarvan jumps out, and it looks like Maokai is going to be easy pickings, but is able to flash with safety.
Yeah, really smart there. They just forced them to stand in the back of the pit and just take that aggro after aggro, and then they just poked when they were ready to poke. So really good play there. It's still an even gold lead, but getting that first dragon as they did last game. But this game they actually have an even game state as opposed to it being a consolation prize for everything else going on the map. So really, really even game here. As I said, gold going on in that.
Let me give you a hug.
Is your mic still good there? I think you cut out. Well, chat, can you still hear both of us, or is it just one of us now? Well, it looks like I'm solo casting at the moment. So, as we'll get into this, we'll wait for our main caster to come back. It looks like they are potentially setting up a dive on the top side with a Zamumu. Unfortunately, because I'm also suspecting, I can't see what you're seeing, so I hope that my commentary lines up with where you guys. The Herald. In mid, we'll have Aurelion Sol TPing back to lane as Jax is kind of hunting, seeing where this Udyr is. Just quick little trades in the midst of their farming. I was told for a second that my voice had also disappeared, but it is apparently back now.
All right, I am back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, my cats didn't just unplug it, they broke the cord itself.
Oh no.
So chat
you have
was
to grab
saying,
a new one.
yeah, chat was saying that my cats unplugged it. They didn't just unplug it, they broke it. So as we see me coming back, Jax solo fighting the Udyr up top. And he's gonna dive, and Flash for Flash does not get the kill. Unfortunate, this gold lead is back to even.
And that, to me, seems like an ego play. You want to make sure that you assert your dominance and show that, hey, I can solo kill you here. But Udyr, when he runs away and you can't catch him, you probably shouldn't chase him on a turret.
1000%.
That's twice now that he's died to that turret shot.
Yeah, that's really sad to see him die that way. If those two engages just go slightly differently both times, that's a big advantage in swing for this game. As we see Lux land the poke onto that Jarvan. Udyr just poked the Zamumu off as he's going to set up his nice back. And chat is saying, I bet it was Fizz. You know what? It was Fizz. Fizz did do that. He's quite the bastard. So,
true to his name.
True to his name. He's throwing them fishes out. You know, he's just a little old jerk.
Just some quick poke damage that's going to be quickly negated by Tark heals and shields. We have, honestly, in all of these lanes, a relatively even lane state. The only significant CS gap is in the jungle, but that's outweighed by the kill deficit instead.
Absolutely.
Heartsteel completed for this Udyr. Jax doing his best to make sure he doesn't get any free procs of that with Counter-Strike.
Very well said, very well said. Still a pretty even gold. We do see the level advantage for this Udyr, like you said, with the Heartsteel completed. He's going to have no problem diving here. Such a huge health disadvantage for this Jax. He has a everything disadvantage. Plate disadvantage, CS disadvantage, kill disadvantage, item disadvantage. I'm really looking to see this Udyr pull ahead up in this top lane.
Absolutely. I think it's going to go that way at least until Jax completes his Sunder, and hopefully he does that soon. Great Counter-Strike to get some damage back onto the Udyr.
see engaged down here in the bot lane. Everyone burning everything as we see Lux take the first kill onto that Maokai. Getting a double onto the Jarvan. That is huge for the side of Scorch. That's really going to go a long way to helping them make this a 3-game series.
And they're going to get some plates here and look to transition into a dragon, I think.
It is. I think Udyr's just going to be able to dive this Jax up top and cross-map trade. As we see the Aurelion Soul ult come out, get the double kill down here. He's definitely going to be able to get that Taric as Taric just runs for his life. We're going to see if they can also get the kill up here in the top lane, which they should have no problem doing. If I'm that Jax, you have to back off. It's nice to want to be able to save that turret, but you just don't have that luxury right now as we see him back off. As we see a Mumu take the second dragon, that is huge. They have almost 1,000 gold advantage here after dropping that Herald.
Plus the stats from both of those dragons. And the second one being an Ocean Soul is really going to help in your tougher matchups, especially where the Udyr's ahead. Jax now has a way to regen something after if he takes a poor trade.
Absolutely.
As Udyr is just going to run through the turret, he does not care. He's got his wave shoved and he's going to take a base.
That's what happens when you're a bogus bean.
That's true. If I was named Bogus Bean, I would expect no less of myself than to proxy farm, run through an empty turret.
Totally.
As things have settled down again for the time being, no objectives clear to take. It looks like we're going to be farming out a little while.
Yeah, we do see this is going to be a battle of the mid laners in team fights. Both bot laners are pretty even. We do see Zeri with that item advantage. She did complete that shield bow. Jin's still sitting on his Noon Quiver, looking to build into that Gale Force just to give him a little bit more ability. So that's where we're at into this game. Like you said, no objectives. We'll see where we go, but it should be a battle of the mid laners as we get into the team fighting mid game.
Absolutely, and it does look like both of them are going to be going for that Leandri's. Notably, Lux does have a Darkseal that she has begun stacking. I would love to see that get turned into a Magi's. I am a little bit partial to mages succeeding. As Jin pops the
Jin
ultimate.
ult comes through, and can Lux just wiggle, and she wiggles out of it.
When someone pulls a gun, you just got to run in zigzags. You saw it here first.
You saw it here first. If you're ever being shot out, you know, if you just outrun the gun, you'll win. I'm gonna step away from the mic.
Don't quote me in that. Don't quote me in that in a real situation.
Yeah, no. This is meant for comedic purposes. Please not hold me legally liable for these statements. I'm going to step away from the mic as my cats are getting into their food. I need to get them out of this room.
And it looks like Blue is setting up for a dive here. However, with the Mumu there, it doesn't look like they'll be able to quite get that. As I say that, I'm proved wrong. That being said, it does go poorly as they do get that kill on. It looks like they might actually get all three of them. Jax with a double, can he get a triple? There's a TP being channeled. But honestly, it's just in case. And they end up going 3 for 0 on that play. Very well done. Great defense for the dive. It is very difficult to dive in a Mumu when he has ult. Plus, Jax had his ult available. He takes far less damage because of the increased resistances. And it looks like they're going to be able to turn that into a Herald take.
Yeah, it does. I just returned to that. Got my cats out here. Feels very good. Sorry about all that, chat.
Twice there. It was a
really?
They attempted to dive the Mumu. Mumu Jax were dove. It was a 3v2, and they ended up winning that 3 for nothing.
Interesting. Very, very, very good. So it does look like we're going to be closer to that 3-game series that we're all hoping for, getting that Silver Scrapes. Wish we could play that Silver Scrapes, but with copyright purposes, we're not. So we're just going to have to hear me do it audibly through my mouth. I will do my best.
Well, one thing to note, this Aurelion Soul is stacking his status quite well. At 175 at 17 minutes, a good benchmark is 10 per minute by the time you're in mid or late game. He's got that earlier, and it only gets easier to stack from here.
It does. It's a very, very good point. We do want to see that 10 per minute. We also, please let me know, chat, if my frames start getting wonky. I've seen it happen a little bit as I'm watching the stream myself. So it's fixed itself, unlike it did last game when it has happened this game. So if it does happen and does not fix itself, please let me know.
And first turret is going to go down to the Udyr. That's some extra local gold in his pocket and some global gold in the rest of his teams.
It is.
As Malkai's looking to get some vision control as the dragon's about to spawn in the next minute or so.
And big thing to point out here, Umumu still does have that second herald, but we do see 3 bounties for the side of Scorch. So if Team Church can get those bounties, they can make up this gold deficit really quickly. So that would be,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely what they're looking to do. They're very small bounties, but nonetheless, an extra 150 gold here or there is exactly how you get back into a game. So they'll take what you can get.
And despite the nerfs, we are seeing another Radiant Virtue game. The Amumu has it this time. And honestly, if he's succeeding with it, I don't have much to say about it. Some short trades in the top lane. Not much advantage gain one way or another. Actually, Jax may look to aggress here.
Yeah, Jax getting his Divine Sunder there and getting those kills at that fight that I missed seemed to have really helped out against this Udyr. He can really hold his own now, and he was down 2 levels. He is not down 2 levels anymore, as we see Lux just absolutely destroy that Maokai with her ult. We see the Jhin ult popped, and we're just fighting over this dragon.
And Udyr is teleporting back in. That's going to be matched by Jax.
Yep.
We'll see what they can make of this. Tarek does still have ult.
Good stun. Yep, good point.
Jarvan dives into the back. Lux flashes. And the ult does come through on time. We'll see what they can do with that.
It does, it does. We do see Udyr here get the nice CC as Jax gets the first kill in this very bloody fight, gets a second kill, knocks out that Jarvan, knocks out that Udyr, no jungler. They're up 2k gold. They're going to go to Soul Point with the first 3 dragons unless we see some crazy steal from Aurelion Sol or Maokai.
And that is a 2-for-1. Notably, all ults expended on both sides here. Lux does have hers up again, though.
Yeah, they're going back in as we see Aurelion Sol get a double kill.
And he is massive now. That's a shutdown to him. He's got a lot of gold in the tank to spend when he gets back.
Yeah.
That fight gave him a fair bit of Stardust, too. And
it did.
As Amumu goes back in looking for that steal.
Good escape there from the Amumu. It looked like he was gone or running around the back of the Dragon Pit, but uses his Bandage Toss to get onto the Maokai and then out through the front of the Dragon Pit. Dragon's still being chunked down, but they're just waiting for that Amumu to leave so he can't do a Smite Steal. And what a crazy turn in that Dragon fight as we see Jhin take down that Dragon, stopping the Dragon stack and getting the first Dragon for the side of Team Church.
And that was a very back and forth fight. We saw health bars dropping and screens going gray long after people had started respawning again.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw so much fighting before the first death in that fight. There was a good 12 to 15 seconds of full 5v5 team fighting before Jax finally picked up those first 2 kills. So as we finally see Amumu here drop that second Herald, getting it, I'm curious to see if they'll get a second charge here. We do see Udyr in the area and Jhin, and it does not look like they're going to get that second charge. Actually, they do. That is absolutely huge, as they're going to look up to get vision on this top side for this Baron, just to make sure that there's no Baron sneaks. As we do see a TP from this Aurelion Sol trying to take this Lux down in the bottom lane, and he just absolutely blows her up. This Aurelion Sol has 6 kills, has 2 items, and is just ready to fight.
And it is the Rylai's second, and he's got a fully stacked tier, so you imagine that's going to be going, obviously, into these Seraph's Embrace after. Exactly. Yep. And that's going to make him even harder to kill in these fights.
Yeah, and with the buff making Seraph's Embrace what it used to be with that shield, it's going to be even harder to kill that Aurelion Sol because they have not been able to kill him in team fights. If I'm the side of Team Scorch, I have to shut him down in team fights. You have to target that Aurelion Sol, otherwise you're not going to win that team fight, because they've shown that even when they are losing in a team fight, he will bring it back. As they're looking to take this Baron.
And I don't think they know.
They don't. They're complete. Well, they do have Scuttle Vision, so they had to know.
As Tarek walks across, but it's gone.
Yeah, it is just... That's actually pretty massive, because before that Baron was only a 500 gold advantage. They're pushing that to 2k. Still a really even game though, because we do have 4 of those kills, as I keep saying, on the Amumu. At this point, it's not a huge deal that all those kills are on the Amumu, because he's almost at 2 item, which is huge. And going that Radiant Virtue, I would expect him to...
Look, we're going to see a Force of Nature second.
Yeah, well,
just missing the
he
bombies.
he has that
The Bomby Cinder.
yeah, the Bomby Cinder, so it wouldn't surprise me if he pushes that into the Aegis, but we'll see as we see him re-engage here on this Maokai, looking to get a kill. Zeri and Jackson area, and that should be no problem. Get all the CC down on him, and getting the kill onto that Zeri is really nice. And as we see Lux get some nice CC onto this Jarvan, Jarvan missing the stun onto that Lux, and he has to flash out.
Fancy footwork by the Lux to avoid that flag and drag.
Yeah, for real. As we see the little kitty emote come down, and the Lux snipe onto that Jarvan, that is huge.
That always feels so bad to throw that emote, hey, I'm out, and then you realize you're not.
Yeah, nope, you're never out when there's a Lux ult.
And Udyr could be at risk of overchasing here, but actually waits until most of the team is gone, just looking to farm that Heartsteel stack.
Yeah, that's exactly what you have to do here. So we'll see what's coming on next for this game. I really think that the Church can easily turn it despite being down 3k gold now. So I'm really looking for Aurelion Sol to carry.
Failing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Aurelion Sol alt expended. I didn't see where. Oh, in the mid lane
Mid.
there. Doesn't look like anything's going to come of it. Jhin alt also. I think they're just trying to protect the turret at this point.
Yeah, really.
But as they're doing that, Jax has got these minions bearing up, and they're chipping away at that top tier 1, which they still haven't taken yet.
Absolutely not. And really good job keeping the Baron buff on all these team members. Even though they aren't taking objectives with it, they're just making sure that if the opportunity arises to take turrets, that anybody can, and anybody in the area can help do that. So not losing that Baron buff as we see that next dragon spawning in less than a minute. It's going to be another fight, as we saw that third dragon fight being the bloodiest fight of this game. So really curious to see what Team Scorch's plan in this next team fight is.
Well, and importantly, they've gotten some key ultimates that might not be quite available. I think Aurelion's will be up for the dragon. Jin's, I don't think will be.
Good point.
So we'll have to wait and see how much that affects it.
Every major summoner spell is up for both teams minus Lux's flash. Lux also doesn't have that TP, but already being in the area, it's not going to matter as we see Amumu bandage toss in, get a little bit of damage onto the Maokai. We have a 3-level difference. Oh no, Maokai's not in the jungle.
The Maokai is in fact the support.
The Maokai,
however, he is still leveled down on the enemy support, which is Tarek.
He is. So we see Udyr being the front line engaging, as we see Jax getting the solo kill onto Aurelion Sol. If Aurelion Sol isn't here, which he's not, I don't want to take any fight without Aurelion Sol, as we see Scorch just absolutely destroy from here as Udyr just flashes out, runs for his life. But with Zeri, I don't think he's going to be able to get out, but Zeri does.
Jhin root does save him.
Jhin root does save him. They're able to get this fourth dragon, their third. Really unfortunate that they couldn't get that third dragon. This would be their soul, but nonetheless, Jax is just taking turret after turret up in the top lane, and they get that third dragon for their side. They're up 6k gold. This is starting to be blown open.
It wasn't that long ago before the top first turret was still standing, and now they've gotten it all the way down to the inhibitor.
Yeah, totally.
Inhibitor turret, that is.
Yeah, we see chat saying huge kill for Jax up on that Aurelion Sol. I agree. Even if he dies there, he's making sure that Aurelion Sol wasn't at that fight. So even if he doesn't get that, it's nice he did end up getting the kill and those 2 turrets to really blow this game open. But even if Aurelion Sol gets that kill, I mean, I guess he could have TP'd in, but nonetheless...
Maybe he would be late to the fight at best.
Exactly. He would have been late to the fight, and he would have had to have hoped he could get a good angle and that there was a good TP at that time in the fight to come in on.
And as it is, he got a shutdown, 300 extra gold on top of the 300 for the kill.
Yep.
He is one of the best scaling champs in the game, in my opinion. One of the few that can actually stand up to the Aurelion Sol in the side lane, at least out of the drafts that we've seen here.
Yep.
So that is massive.
Yeah, it is. And we see Jax just so prominent in pro play right now. And this Jax has 3 items. I don't know if you saw yesterday, but the Jax coming from Armit getting Dignitas, their first win of the season. I would say that Jensen was the MVP of that game, but Armit's Jax really won them that game as well. So this Jax with 3 items should be their win con, as we see chat saying that A-Soul is the other team's win con. And you got to think that that is their only win con, being down 5k gold right now. So Aurelion Soul ult back up. This Baron's going to be up soon. We'll see what they try to do here.
Note that Jax has stacked a lot of magic resist. He's got Wit's End completed. He's got Maw of Malmortius completed. And then the Mumu's also got Mercs and Force of Nature. This is not a team that's easily going to die to these AP carries.
Yeah, absolutely not. No. Yeah, they're gonna be in it for the long run. They have the magic resistance to take that damage and soak it in, like you said, and give them the shield with that Maw too. So there's a lot of tankiness coming from the side of Team Scorch, and they've scaled really well. And those kills going on to Amumu early turned out to be just what they needed, because he is going to be a pain to kill in team fights.
And also, both teams have a very fast Baron take, so I expect them to be fighting over top river control. Vision's going to be very important. Aesol, one of the best Barons in the game right now. But Jax and Amumu with the Zeri are also going to take that very quickly.
Yep.
So I don't want to see either of these teams give any more than they have to in terms of Vision. I want to see some sweepers come out. I want to see pink wards placed. And just as we say that, that's exactly what they're doing.
100%, and we see Jax getting a good flank angle. He doesn't know that they have Vision coming from that top, or she did ward it, as we see Udyr rotate up. Looks like Jarvan and Udyr might try to pinch this Jax, which if they can pull off correctly, and Jax is going to back, but he doesn't know Udyr's coming up, but it doesn't matter. He should be able to get that back off, and he doesn't. Udyr gets the stun onto Jax. As they're
in trouble.
Yeah, they're burning this Maokai down. He has to flash out. Still has that Maokai ult, though. We got 5 people on the Baron for the side of Team Scorch as we see Jhin ult popped. He's going to try to poke him off. They're not going to burn the Baron down. They're going to peel off the Baron and just get blown up by Jarvan and Jhin ult. It is a 3v5 right now.
Great Aurelion Soul ult. The Taric ult was not able to come through in time to protect against it, but
this Jax,
the members you have left,
this Jax,
I don't know if you can deal with them.
No, you can't beat that Jax. This game,
and that's the Cleanse and Gale Force and Flash out of Jhin, and he's still gonna go down, I think.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. This Jax can 1v9 this game at this point. So what I'm expecting is, I'm just expecting this to, you know, if I'm Church, I'm saying this guy can't get Jax next game. Despite those crazy tower dives we were talking about, he found the plays that he needed to get him to where he needed to be late in the game, and being able to scale and win and do what he needed to do to get that solo kill against Aurelion Soul that really got him that turret gold and really set him apart to win these fights.
And what's interesting is it's the same thing that set him behind, that set him ahead. He was over aggressive going for those dives on Udyr initially, but then when Udyr returned the favor to him, and he got 2 kills out of that play when they tried to 3-man him and the Mumu.
Yeah.
And that's what accelerated him.
Yeah, that is the defining moment that accelerated him, and ever since then he's continued to accelerate. He knows his limits. This guy is really, really strong on the Jax, so we'll see if he's going to get it.
He is 4.5 items at this point, by the way.
He is,
with
yeah.
Black Cleaver, so armor isn't going to be as effective as it would otherwise be, because he's going to shred it with every time he hits you.
Yeah, I don't even think armor would do anything for them right now. Level 17 Jax, he's just at 4.5 items, as you said. They're just gonna. I don't know how they're gonna kill him. I don't think you can kill him.
And Jarvan is gone before the Dragon's in smiteable distance.
Yeah, Jarvan's just dead. That's Soul. If I'm them, I'm looking... Oh, they're pinging for the Baron, so we'll see them head towards the Baron now. They'll probably take the Baron and try to push for an end, or at least an inhib or 2. We'll see. What do you think? Do you think they'll just try to ARAM and push one lane for end, or do you think they'll split push, try to get multiple inhibs with this Baron?
I imagine they're at least going to reset with all the gold they've just acquired. If
Fair.
not, they could push top and mid, try and get 2 inhib turrets and pressure from there. Especially if they're not looking to rush to the end of the game. I think they have a great scaling team. I don't think they need to worry about being outscaled anywhere except for potentially mid. you could just look to take that top inhibitor and then transition that into Elder when it spawns.
Yeah, you are reading my mind. I would say that I expect them to cash in on the gold. I'm not sure if this game will get to the next 6 minutes to Elder. I do think that they should be able to push in multiple lanes and just play it that way and rotate, win fight, or maybe get a pick and win from there. But they're probably going to play it slow, knowing that they want to get this series to a game 3 and not make a stupid mistake. But
and especially being down the 1 game already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They want to get this to a game 3. And we know what this mid laner Foxtrot can do. He's played the Lux, he's played the Aurelion Soul. Really curious if there's any other picks in his scouting that even we didn't see that could come through in game 3. So here's Jax engaging in the mid lane right onto the Udyr. He is scared of no one. He says, I will fight you. I don't care. I am the only champ who has never been reworked. Fun fact, Jax is the only champ who still has his original kit, and he's been around since 2009, so very fun.
Is that completely true? Did he not used to have a dodge chance?
I remember reading about 3 months ago, and it was from a Riot source, so I believe that he has his official, what was originally released, but we see this fight down here.
I think this is the lowest we've seen Amumu in the last 10 minutes.
It is. As we see Lux get the kill onto that Jarvan, it's kind of a split fight. We see them rotating to come back in, and we see Lux and Amumu gonna just corner this Maokai down here, and they're gonna get the kill. We'll see what's coming on. Udyr's trying to escape, but he's gonna stay around, maybe try to hit some CC as he gets CC'd. But man, this Zeri's doing damage too as we see the Aurelion Soul pop out, trying to get some disengage there, but they don't care. They're going to keep pushing in the mid lane. Lux flashes out.
Great mind by her. I think even with the flash, she may have gone down to the Aurelion Soul if she didn't know on that.
Yeah, they're really low here. I think they're going to take an inhib and back off, and that's exactly what we're going to see them do. They really pushed their limit in that fight, and they did what they needed to do. They won, got the inhib, and now they're just going to look to rotate, get more map pressure as they look to push in this top lane.
And the shields from that Mountain Soul paying dividends at this point. Coming back up multiple times to that fight.
What a nasty root ult combo by the Lux. She is just saying, hey, you played Lux last game, you played really well, I can too. Let me show you what I can do. So, really nice that they blind picked the Lux into this mid laner. What confidence.
And it's working for them.
Yeah, what confidence to have done that.
And the only magic resist on the part of that Udyr is Merc Treads, which is not going to be enough for 3.5 item Lux. Stopwatch now in her inventory that for some extra safety in case she does get dove upon.
Yep. We do see that Aurelion Soul at 4 items, but like you said, that Lux is at 3.5, and the 3 items she has are just more expensive. So probably around the same gold that we're seeing for this Aurelion Soul and Lux, because Rabadon's and Shadow Flame is just a bit more than a Void Staff would be in a Rylai. So
absolutely.
We'll see.
And notably, both Dark Seals gone, no Magi's. Very sad.
No Magi's. I'm curious, do you think this rod for Aurelion Soul, do you think it's going to be built into Shadow Flame or Rabadon's? You'd expect Rabadon's, but if the gold's there and he doesn't have anything, I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes straight into a Shadow Flame.
I think it's going to be... I would expect a Rabadon, seeming as he already has the Void Staff.
But that team's tanky. That team has a lot, you know, extra MR is never bad, but we see Amumu get a little zealous here as he goes right in. He says, I'm so tanky, what are you going to do about it? I'll frontline. There's nobody here to really take advantage of it. That Aurelion Soul's just going to clear the wave. As Jax is pushing in this bot lane, they send 2 to answer him. We got Udyr and Jarvan down here, but Amumu's misses his bandage toss onto that Udyr. Unfortunate.
You know, I may have to rescind my earlier comment. I think actually it might be a Shadow Flame simply because of the Mountain Soul. Yep. You're going to get extra power against those shields.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that I was thinking subconsciously in my head, but I didn't point out. I was taking that into consideration when I was talking about how tanky this team is. So,
and we weren't sure if we're going to get the Elder fight, but honestly, it's getting close.
It is. It is. It's an 8k gold lead. I think, you know, they should be able to close it out, win the fight, get the Elder, and end the game. But we've seen the agency on this Aurelion Soul. We've seen the agency in the game before on this ADC. So we'll see if they can
Oh, my
Get some picks
goodness.
and make a play, but man, that Lux ult is just, she is doing damage now.
Well, and with the Blighting Jewel, that's some of that magic resist that Jarvan has naturally from his stats, obviously he hasn't bought any, is going to be ignored. So she is basically dealing true damage to him at this point.
Absolutely.
Between that and the Shadow Flame.
As we see them start this Drake up, we do see a flash come out, but they just shut down that Maokai, flash into the Taric. That Taric flash in is just so confident. I love it. All right, we see them get the CC down on this Udyr, but Jax shuts down that Aurelion Soul. Amumu gets the kill on the Maokai. Oh, wow. Maokai shuts down the Jax, but that is not who you want getting that kill.
Nope, it certainly isn't. And Zeri stays up the red buff regen just enough, plus the Mountain's Soul Shield. I think they just end the game.
Yeah,
there.
you just end the game. I mean, that's what happens with this team comp, is if you have a Jax as fed as he is, great, target him, burn him down. You have a Zeri in the back line. Like, it doesn't matter. And you still have other champs the front line. If Jax is dead and he dies, you have the Taric and the Amumu. So, really great play. Really good with the Zeri knowing what she needed to do when they target Jax. And she peeled really well and did really well in that fight. So, good job for Boonstra on that Zeri.
Absolutely. And Scorch showing far more discipline than I. They back off. They go to the Elder. I would have just tried to run it through to the end there.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked they didn't. They, well, they do know that Jax... They should wait for this Jax to be up. He's up in 5. If I'm them, I'm saying wait for Jax so he can get this Elder. It doesn't look like they do that. He misses it by a second.
1 second.
That could be huge. I don't expect it to, but it could.
I was gonna say that if that comes back to bite them, they'll be kicking themselves if they watch the VOD. But
Yep.
like you said, I don't expect that to be the difference maker. But it's just one of those little things where it doesn't take much effort as long as you have some communication there. But I don't think they need it, as they're gonna make a beeline for Baron, and I think that's gonna be they're gonna look for Baron into end.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's pick your poison this point for the side of Church. As chat says, Church has no damage, and you're absolutely right. They really don't at this point in the game in comparison to the other side, and you're going to need a lot of damage when you have that Mountain Soul on the side of Team Scorch. So, it's really pick your poison where you're at right now. So you can contest at the Baron and die there, or you can let them get Baron and die when they're pushing into end the game. So, we'll see this Maokai go down because they have that Elder buff, and it looks like the game just ends.
It's still going for me.
It kicked me out of the client.
It kicked me into the loading and then it brought me back in. So
oh,
I'm not exactly
well,
sure
I'm in the loading too. Maybe it does bring me back in. So we'll see what goes on from here.
That is Nasher over to the side of Scorch, however.
Okay.
And it looks like they're targeting mid and top.
Okay.
They're saying we're going to push 2 at once.
Yep. We're back in. So.
Just for a reference, what timestamp are you at this moment?
It's loading again. Sent me back to the loading screen.
Oh. Well, I can give you some radio stuff. Oh, no, actually, it looks like the broadcast has ended.
Yep, broadcast has ended as far as I'm concerned, too. I am in the... And we see chat saying classic Rito moment. Don't know if you want to blame Rito there, if you want to blame me, but that's where we're at. And it looks like it stopped the stream once again.
Oh. I'd say we'll work on getting that back, but I think you're the only one who can hear me say that.
Yeah, no, I got it back.
Oh, okay, perfect. I'm going to exit. I think I've been invited into the next lobby already.
Okay.
And there it is. And my client is very frozen.
Mine too. It's good to know that your client isn't the only one that's frozen. And it's also good to know because it's not letting me start the stream.
Oh, there, now I'm in spectate again.
Me too.
Hey, look at that. I don't see you in spectate. Oh, you're still in one of the teams, that's why.
Yeah. I was in that spectate. Okay, I left. Okay, perfect. There we go.
Well, that was a much better game, I think.
Yep.
Still very one-sided by the end of it, but man, there were some really exciting moments.
Yeah. Gonna try to get this stream back up.
While you do that, I'm just gonna run and refill my water bottle.
Perfect.